Hi, welcome to Yeda Center, where we share knowledge and topics related to management and technology. I'm Yael, and I'm happy to have Yuda Holtzman here with me. Today, we'll discuss some different ways for calculating license renewal rates in subscription licensing model. I'll take this opportunity and invite you to listen or view to other sessions we have on our site related to license renewals. For example, we have a session explaining the differences between perpetual and subscription license models. We also have another session about the customer success role, so we hope to see you there. Yuda, I suggest we begin by explaining the importance of calculating percentage of license renewal.
Hi, Yael. Well, subscription licensing relies on the fact that a customer will renew his license at the end of the current subscription period, whether at the end of the month, year, or any other period. Our ability to predict and, on the other hand, to meet our forecast for the renewal rate is critical for several reasons. I will mention two. The first is our ability to build a proper business plan for months and years ahead based on the forecast renewal percentage, which is directly linked to the company income. The second reason is profitability. Gaining a customer costs us money, advertising, exhibition, flights, and many other expenses. It is important to ensure that customers generate higher income compared to the cost of gaining them, and the renewal rates provide us a broad view with respect to customer acquisition return on investment. So now, if we calculate the renewal rates correctly, it will provide us both current status but also trends and a good look at the near-term future.
So how do we calculate the percentage of license renewal? It sounds trivial, doesn't it?
License renewal calculation does sound trivial, but it does contain several complexities that need to be addressed. I will mention three possibilities for calculating the license renewal percentage and the relevant complexities. So let's start with renewal by number of customers. A very simple example. Suppose we have 100 customers who need to renew the license this year. Only 90 of the 100 renewed, meaning 90% renewal.
How do we know if this is a good number or not?
This is a great question, but let's wait with the answer. I promise not to forget. Let's spend a minute explaining the benefit of measuring renewal by customers and what are the limitations. Customers are the most important for anyone who sells a product or a service. Without customers, we do not have the right to exist as a business, and therefore we must measure our ability to retain our customers. And therefore, customer renewal rate is the first parameter I would look into. Yet, even though calculating this parameter, in my opinion, is mandatory, it is not always enough. It is only sufficient in a situation where we have one type of license and each customer holds one license. Then, calculating renewals based on number of customers is actually the same as renewal by number of licenses.
So if we just return to the previous example, where we have 100 customers, all having the same license, and each customer holds a single license. Then we have 100 customers and 100 licenses, and then if 90 licenses are renewed, then we have 90% renewal of licenses, and this is the same as renewing the rate for customers.
Yes, and it is very suitable for products sold to private customers or small businesses. Let's review the following example where measuring renewal by number of customers is not sufficient. So according to the example, we have 100 customers but this time 90 customers each having a license of $100 and 10 customers each having a license whose annual cost is $1,000. Therefore, the total annual income equals 90 multiplied by $100 plus 10 multiplied by $1,000, and we have an annual income of $19,000. So just to take the example one step forward, let's assume that all 10 customers with the annual license of $1,000 each did not renew their license. So still, out of the 100 customers, 90 renewed, so 90% of customers renewed, not bad. But in terms of revenue, we are seeing a 53% drop from $19,000 to $9,000, which is very significant drop, which was not reflected when looking at the 90% customers renewal rate. As I already mentioned, measuring the percentage of renewal by number of customers, in my opinion, is mandatory, but not sufficient as we just seen. Another option is calculating renewal by number of licenses. When should we use this index? When the customer can have a number of similar licenses. Returning to the recent example, 90 customers have a license of $100 per year, and 10 customers' license annual cost is $1,000 per year. Then also in this case, if the 10 customers, each with the $1,000 annual license, did not renew, then the percentage renewal of the customers or of the licenses is the same, 90%. So in the situation where each customer has one license, the percentage of renewals according to customers and licenses is identical and not sufficient, as we don't see the 53% drop in revenue. Measuring the percentage of renewal by license is effective if all customers have a similar license. For example, let's say that all 100 of our customers have licenses of one kind of $100 per year. But this time, we assume they hold a different amount, meaning 90 customers each hold a single license at an annual cost of $100, and 10 other customers each having 10 licenses of $100 per year each. In other words, the 90 customers hold 90 licenses of $100 and 10 customers hold 100 licenses together, and we have all together 190 licenses each for $100. So if all those 10 customers, each holding 10 licenses, did not renew, the result this time is that 90% of the customers have renewed, but only 90 out of the 190 licenses were renewed. That is 47% of the licenses, and it helps us to identify that there is a problem.
So if we make an interim summary, measuring renewal by number of customers is fine as long as each customer has a single license and all licenses are the same. If this is not the case and a customer may have more than one license, then we need to add a renewal based on the number of licenses, and that will be sufficient only if all the licenses are the same. Otherwise, we will not have the correct picture. So what is the correct way to calculate when customers have a wide range of licenses?
Here we need another parameter, and it is the third we will discuss, and this is renewal based on revenue. Renewal based on revenue can be presented by various parameters such as MRR or ARR.
I suggest we mention what MRR and ARR mean.
MRR, monthly recurring revenue. This refers to the monthly turnover of the company from its subscriber customers, mainly in reference to software product using subscription model. ARR is the annual recurring revenue, and again, it's the annual turnover of the company from its subscriber customers. In the case of our example, the ARR at the beginning is $19,000, and at the end of the year, it's only $9,000. Here you see the revenue drop of 53%.
We've presented 3 options here. I guess there's more, so maybe we'll just summarize again when to use each one.
So the simplest situation is that we have only one type of license, same price, and each customer only purchases one license. Here, renewal according to the number of customers or license is the same and sufficient. If there is a situation where different customers purchase a different number of licenses, then renewal by number of customers is not sufficient, and we need to add renewal calculation according to the number of licenses. In general, measuring renewal percentage by number of licenses is simple and preferable when there is similarity in licenses and customers, meaning that all customers have similar licenses in terms of prices, amounts, and terms of purchase. If there are multiple solutions or packages sold to different customers, we will need to add a revenue renewal-based calculation, which is ARR or MRR. In most cases, the renewal rate should be obtained using at least 2 parameters according to customers and revenue. And in the case where there is a difference in the number of licenses per customer, we should also measure renewal according to number of licenses in order to obtain a comprehensive renewal status.
Do you have any other interesting examples?
Let me provide one more example regarding licenses at different prices. Let's take a hypothetical case where we have 10 customers. 5 customers have an annual subscription of $100, and 5 additional customers have an annual subscription of $1,000 per year each. The $100 customers did not renew their license, and the customers who pay $1,000 a year did renew. According to the number of customers and licenses, since each customer has one license, the renewal rate is 50%, since 5 customers have canceled and 5 have renewed. According to the revenue, the renewal rate is 91%, since the 5 customers of $1,000 each continue for an additional year, generating a total of $5,000, and the 5 customers of $100 each canceled. We started with $5,500 and ended with $5,000, hence 91%. And now we'll add a slight twist. The 5 customers of $100 have canceled, as I previously mentioned, but the customers who pay $1,000 per year each not only have renewed, but we have also increased their price by 10% to $1,100. After raising the price by 10%, the renewal rate is still 50%, yet by revenue, the renewal rate is now 100%.
So how should we treat such an example?
So first of all, by the fact that we reviewed the renewal rate both by customers and by revenue, we obtained a clear picture. In a situation of such great variation between the type of licenses, one way to deal with the situation is to define different groups according to the type of license, for example, by price, And then in our case, we would made a separate calculation for licenses at a price of $100 per year, where we have 0% renewals, which means we have a problem, compared to the $1,000 licenses where renewal rate is optimal. In general, the more different your contracts and customers are, the more important it is to understand the characteristics of licenses renewal according to different parameters. Such in-depth understanding is important for optimizing SaaS-based business operation.
Are there any more issues to consider? I can think of a number of points. For example, how do you relate to a customer who closed his business with no relation to our product? Is he considered a customer we lost?
An interesting example. There are quite a few scenarios that we have not discussed, and I will mention a number of them as a food for thought, scenarios you are likely to face. Following the example you mentioned, Yael, if, say, our customers are stores, how should we refer to stores that shut down but nothing related to us? They obviously did not renew their license, but not because they were dissatisfied with our product. In other words, we have lost a customer and its revenue, yet we can't necessarily deduct much information that we can learn from. Another interesting example is how should we treat a customer who renewed his license, say, a month or two after the expiration of the previous license, and not immediately upon its termination? Should we treat this customer once as a lost customer and also as a new gained customer, or as one who renewed his license? Customers who have acquired a 3-year license where most of our customers are renewing each year, do we count them as annual renewals or only at the end of the 3 years? These and many other related topics will be discussed in future sessions. There is an answer that I still owe you, Yael.
I'm really glad you didn't forget, and I already thought to remind you that we've not yet discussed the goal of renewal that is right to set.
There are 2 types of goals to consider. The first should be referring to the historical data of the company or product, and then the target should be either maintaining or improving in relation to previous year performance per specific product. The second type of goal relates to the industry performance, and in this case, my suggestion would be to aim to a goal higher than the industry norm of license renewal rate.
So just to summarize, we have listed different methods to calculate license renewal by the number of 1. Customers, 2. Licenses, and 3. Revenue. We also discussed when should we use each of the calculation methods. We presented examples for calculating license renewal rates, and the results indicated that in order to decide which method to use, we should have a good understanding of our license renewal characteristics. And anyway, it seems that in many cases, we'll present the renewal rate more than one way. We also mentioned a number of other issues, just as food for thought, as you're likely to face such scenarios. For example, what should be the target we set for the renewal rate? This is the opportunity to invite you all to our website, getacenter.com, to hear and view both podcasts and videos addressing management and technology topics. Thank you, Yuda Holtzman, for joining us.
Thank you, Yael.